Yo, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Now, last night we finally got to see the PoE 2 live stream from Grinding Gear Games. It was such a crazy stream. It lasted hours on end. I was proper like nerding out watching the stream. There was so much information. Like when I say so much, there was like information overload, and this was just talking about what we're going to be getting in the next couple of weeks on December the 6th for early access. Not even the official full launch, just early access. There is so much content coming, so much stuff to do with the classes, so much customization, so many boss fights. Endgame is absolutely ridiculous because they decided a little while ago to shift all of their focus to creating obviously a big end game, because I can fully agree with this. They noticed and obviously realized that nearly every single ARPG that comes out, one of the biggest complaints and one of the biggest problems, and I have used this myself, I have had this happen to me as well, is we really start to enjoy the ARPG. You go through the campaign, you get to the end game, and then there really isn't that much to do. So then you get bored and then you put the game down and then you return to it later on when there's a new season or stuff like that. But my gosh, they said, no, we're not going to have that problem. So their full focus was to the end game content. And I'm going to go through some bits and bobs. Obviously, like I said, there was so much information that I need to rewatch the stream multiple times before I can fully digest all of the stuff. So I've taken some notes and I'm going to go through some bits and bobs that I want to bring to you guys and girls. Now, don't worry, those of you that follow me for MMORPGs, yes, don't worry, I'm still doing MMORPG content, but I cover RPGs as a whole, and I love ARPGs as well. And Path of Exile 2 is one of those games that I've been waiting for a long time, and it looks incredible. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Like, share, and subscribe, and then let's do this. So in Path of Exile 2, classes. During early access period, we will have access to 6 classes. And the following classes these will be is, number 1, we're going to have the monk, who is a melee focused, who has fast combos. Then number 2, we're going to get the warrior. So if you like another, if you enjoy melee classes, but you want a bit more of a slower paced character, but with more heavy hitting skills, then the warrior will be for you. Then number 3, we're going to have the ranger, whose main focus is of course the bow, but she has plenty of movement and hard hitting skills as well. Number 4, we're going to be getting the mercenary, who uses a crossbow, which you can load with different ammo types, making it act like a shotgun, a sniper rifle, an assault rifle, even a grenade launcher, and many more. It's a very interesting looking class, very like fast paced as well. And don't forget, guys, you can use WASD for movement, which is really, really, really cool. So yeah, you can basically play the mercenary as if you're playing a shooter class, a shooter game. Now, number 5 we're going to have access to is the witch, who calls upon undead hordes of minions, and you can create basically permanent minions which will keep on respawning each time they die. So you don't have to worry about trying to respawn them, recast them. You can just let them be. Have your enemies fight off all of your hordes of undead, and yeah, just fire damage towards the enemies. Now, obviously, the witch is basically pretty much like a necromancer class per se. And then number 6 for the early access, we're going to be getting the sorceress. Now, this is my favorite. I always play sorcerers or sorceresses or mages, wizards. That is my kind of class, so I'm really looking forward to playing the sorcerers. The sorcerers uses the elements, so we can use fire, lightning, ice, what you would expect. And you can even combine the elements to perform powerful combos. So for example, you can put down a flame wall, and then you can do a lightning attack, and it will just do devastating damage. So I'm really, really looking forward to getting my hands on this and diving into the sorcerers and all of the combinations that I'm going to be able to like nerd out on and have fun with trying out. Now, there's going to be another 6 more classes that are going to get added later on. So we're going to have to wait and see what they're going to be. I know the Druid was mentioned and a few others, but we'll leave that for now. We'll just wait and see what we're going to get. Because there's just so much stuff to go through in early access that I'm not even going to be worried too much about that. Now, you can actually use all of the skills on any class as long as you have the correct attributes for it. So we can do cross classes basically. So with that, the build potential is basically endless. Now the builds in PoE are already crazy, like all the stuff you can do, and the capabilities of the builds in PoE 2, even without cross classes, is crazy. So this is just going to be like, I love making builds in games that I play. I love experimenting, and I love trying out things that possibly might not work, but then you find out that you can tweak it and it actually can be super powerful. So this is insane for me. I was loving that when they mentioned that last night on the stream. Now, another thing they've changed as well in PoE 2, we now have 1 life flask slot and 1 mana flask slot, and it now gains charges when you kill enemies, and you should be able to heal around 6 to 7 times when the flask is full. So that's really, really cool. So it just, the more you kill enemies, it will just keep on recharging. So I like that idea. And then now, to carry on with the whole classes, there is an ascension. So you have to do like ascension trials to unlock this. I believe he said it was in Act 2. But ascensions basically is even more customization we're going to be able to have for our classes. Now, each class is going to have 3 ascendancy classes, but during early access, we're only going to be able to have access to 2. But I mean, like I said, there's so much stuff to do that having access to 2 is more than enough right now. So I'm going to go through the names and what classes we have. There is a ton more information, but like I said, I'll have to make like a dedicated video just talking about ascension classes. So for now, I'm just going to tell you what we have and what we've got. So the sorceress, you can either become a storm weaver or a chronomancer. Then for the warrior, we can be a warbringer or the titan. The ranger, we can be a deadeye or pathfinder. The witch, we can be a infernist or a blood mage, and you can actually transform into an actual demon, which is crazy. The monk, we can be an invoker or an acolyte, and then for the mercenary, we can be a witch hunter or a gemling legionnaire. So very, very crazy stuff, interesting. Like I said, there's so much customization that, like I said, I need to rewatch, deep dive and go into to be able to make a dedicated video on just the ascension stuff. So stay tuned for that later on when I get my head when I wrap my head around all of the information. So yeah, and then PoE 2 is basically going to have 6 acts, and then from level 65 to level 100 is where we're going to be basically starting the end game, which has a lot of things to do. Like I spoke about in the intro of my video, they shifted focus heavily recently to creating a ton of endgame, which I think's a really, really good decision. And there's still many more things to come as well, which is the craziest part about it. Now, level 1 to level 45 should take you around 25 hours to complete if you're relatively new. The real hardcore veterans of PoE 1 will probably blast through that. But I didn't play much of PoE 1, so I'm probably gonna take my time and enjoy, doing that. So I'll probably take around 20 to 25 hours to complete it, but we'll have to see. But then during the start of early access, we are going to have around 400 monster types and 50 different bosses, which that to me is mental. But how it's going to work is from early access, we're going to have only acts 1 to 3. And then there's going to be a second difficulty called Cruel, which you will be able to, you basically redo the acts 1 to 3, but all of the monsters and the bosses are going to be leveled up, more HP, you know, more harder to kill. But of course, we're going to get new rewards as well, so that we can get to level 65 to start the end game. Then on full release, they're going to add the final axe, which is going to be axe 4 to 6, and then they're going to remove the cruel difficulty. So, end game. The types of end game that we're going to be getting is 7 types of content at the start, and these are as follows. So number 1, we've got the Atlas map, which is basically infinite. So you can literally keep on going through and exploring as just indefinitely, which is insane to me. Then number 2, we're going to be getting Breach, which comes from PoE 1. So obviously, like I said, if you're a veteran PoE 1 player, you'll know all about Breach, but they have made changes. Then number 3, we're going to be getting the Ritual, where we're going to need to fight enemies to feed the altar. So, you know, do sacrifices and stuff like that. And then when you finish this, we can buy powerful items. Again, like I said, guys, this is I'm not deep diving into every single thing because it's just information overload. So yeah. Number 4, we're going to be having, it's called Delirium. So where you're going to need to touch a mirror, and it's going to put us in an area with like a mist around us, and you're going to have to fight many strong enemies, and we can get plenty of good items. Which in ARPGs, I'm a loot goblin. I love to collect everything and as much stuff as I can. So this is going to be fun. Now, number 5, we're going to have Expedition. So while we're clearing corruptions, we're going to probably get asked to find artifacts, and we're going to have to dig those up with explosives. But there's going to, of course, be many enemies around that we're going to have to get rid of whilst trying to do this as well. So again, lots of loot, lots of enemies, lots of explosions. Gotta love it, right? Number 6, we're going to have Endgame Trials, which has 4 floors, and then that leads us to a powerful boss at the end, and then we can get jewels, which can be socketed into the passive skill tree. Now, I haven't even touched upon the skill tree, but the skill tree, guys, as you can imagine, is insane. It's massive, it's huge, and yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun diving into that passive tree and the skill tree. And then number 7, we've got the Pinnacle Boss, which is the most difficult content in Path of Exile 2. We will need to get 3 keys from 3 different factions of enemies. And to get these, we need to first defeat the 2 lieutenants before we fight the Uber Boss. But there's a caveat here. If we die, they move on, and then we need to basically find them again. So yeah, basically try not to die, or you're going to have to be hunting to find them again. And there is literally, like I said, so much more information and content to deep dive in. So once I can get into the game, trust me, I'm going to be making some build guides, and I'll cover more of the game's content in more of a deep dive, informative video style. So yeah, if you're hyped for Path of Exile 2, don't forget to leave me a comment down below. Are you going to be buying the early access? I've already got my early access copy. It's there, it's ready. December the 6th, we're going to be diving straight into Path of Exile 2. But yeah, like I said, hope you've enjoyed this one. See you soon. Take care. Peace.